Hi guys, today I'm gonna reflect about the devastating flooding that we saw and we experienced in Cebu during the Typhoon Tino. So we saw that um, our streets turned into rivers, and tragically, like over 100 of lives died across the region. And we were gonna discuss this with the moral, or we were gonna apply more ethical theories in this moral issues. So I want to focus specifically on the controversy of like involving the Monterrasas de Cebu project. So while the developers marketed it as it's they say that it is sustainable, like it is inspired as Banawe, yeah, the Manawe. And the DNR also recently they flagged them for multiple environment violations, like including the inadequate retention ponds. And also the dilemma here is, should the developer prioritize profit and innovate like a design over the ecological safety of the communities living downhill? Like right now, what's happening right now? We cannot revive those who are killed. So let's try to apply the ethical theories. Firstly, let's try it on the utilitarianism. So as it focuses on the results, so an action is right if it produces the greatest good for the greatest number of people. While the project creates jobs and also provides luxury housing for a few people, which like rich people. So the utility is heavily outweighed by the suffering of thousands of residents in Mandaue and Cebu City who just face flash floods, and their property were lost because of the mountain that can no longer absorb the rainwater. Yes, that's from the utilitarianism view. And when it comes to the deontology, so as it focus on more on duty, focus on duty. So under its like the ethics of deontology, we mostly look at its duty. So engineers and the developers have this CI, or categorical imperative, to ensure the safety, right? So following this like example, the ECC, or the environmental compliance certificate, the ECC is not optional, it's their moral duty. It's a moral duty that they should follow. So if the developer or the engineers bypasses this rules, like just to speed up the construction, so they are failing their duty to the public, regardless of like how beautiful, aesthetic the end of this product, right? So that's it. And let's move to the virtue of ethics. So this focuses on the character. So in the virtue of ethics, let's have this question: that what kind of person or company does this? So a virtuous developer would act with like integrity, prudence. So instead of just meeting the bare minimum of the law, they would show like genuine concern for their neighbors, the lack of adequate retention ponds that suggest like a lot of lacking of the virtue of responsibility. So in my defense, in my position, my stance, the most ethical decision is the ecological um, prioritization. Like they must focus more focus on this one, because I believe that the developers and the government must adopt a safety first, where they should mandate where the project permits are revoked immediately if the environmental safety or environmental safeguards, like those um it should require um like retention ponds that are not 100% functional. So in my defense, I defend this because profit is temporary, but the environmental damage is permanent. Yes. And we cannot call a project sustainable just because it looks green if it actively contributes to displacement of like the low, like the poor in the low lying areas. And when it comes to ethics, the environmental ethics and social justice, this situation, um, the case of social justice issues, it's often the wealthy living in the upland developments, while the urban or the poor in the lowlands bear the 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 landslides, the floods. So the true environmental ethics requires accountability, holding those with the power to change the landscape, which are responsible for the lives of those living at the bottom of the hill. And yes, that's right. So as we end this discussion, this reflection, uh, this made me realize that Typhoon Tino was like a natural disaster, but the scale of the flooding was, it's all human made, like ethical failure. So that's it, guys. That's my realization. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.